friends, I'm back again. So in my last video I had explained you price elasticity of demand. Now here I am with some questions on price elasticity of demand. Alright, okay, let's try to solve them. The first one says, so you have a table here of price and quantity demanded at different price levels. Alright, so using the above table, when price changes from 100 to 200, calculate the price elasticity of demand. So now that's very simple. Given the formula, the price elasticity of demand is given by this formula. Okay, the new quantity minus the old quantity divided by the new quantity plus old quantity divided by 2. This whole divided by new price minus old price divided by new price plus old price divided by 2. So what you have to basically do is substitute with the values into it. That's it. That's about it. So the old price was 100 as told here. Since the price changes from 100 to 200, so the old price was 100. So at 100 price, the quantity demanded was 500. So that's our old quantity demanded. At new price, which is 200, the quantity demanded is 400. So at new price, that's 200, our new quantity would be 400. Fair enough? So now just substitute these values out here. So it would be 400 minus 500 divided by 400 plus 500 divided by 2. 200 minus 100 divided by 200 plus 100 divided by 2. And as explained earlier, we always take the absolute value of this because price and quantity demanded are in a negative relationship. So right, so there's an inverse relationship between quantity demanded and price level, right? Okay, so what we get is minus 100 divided by 900 divided by 2, the whole divided by 100 divided by 300 by 2. Absolute value again. So we get minus 100 divided by 450, 900 divided by 2 gives you 450, and 100 divided by 300 divided by 2 gives you 150, right? So this is simple math, right? And so I can write this as this, minus 100 divided by 450 into 150 divided by 100. So with some cancellations, what I get is 1 by 3, the absolute value. Correct? So I'm ignoring the negative sign in this. Alright, so 1 by 3 is nothing but 0.333. You can go on. Since price elasticity, now this is what important is. Since price elasticity of demand is less than 1, the demand is inelastic. As explained in my earlier lesson, if the price elasticity of demand is less than 1, we say that demand is inelastic. If it's greater than 1, we say demand is elastic, and if it's equal to 1, we say it's unit elastic. Right? If you can recall that, please do. Alright, now switching to the next question, question number 2. What will be the change in quantity demanded if a 10% decrease in price happens and the price elasticity of demand is equal to 4? Alright, so again it's the same formula. So either you use this or you use this, really doesn't matter. What matters is that what formula to use depends upon what kind of question you have been asked, right? Now here I haven't been given the old price and the new price and the old quantity and the new quantity. So I cannot actually use this, right, this formula. So it's the same. If you'll just derivate it, you will come down to the same formula, right? So it's nothing that you have to really mug it up. You have to just understand it. Percentage change in quantity demanded is new minus old and divided by this, right? So it's the same thing. So ED is also percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. So I just substitute the values again. So elasticity of demand is 4, so that's given to be 4, equals to, I take percentage change in quantity demanded to be X, and percentage change in price is given as 10%. So that's a decrease in price, correct? So 10 here. Now simply you cross multiply, you get X equals to 40%. So that's the quantity demanded increases by 40% actually. So I have written this wrong. Since there is a 10% decrease in price happens, so the quantity demanded actually increases by 40%. Right? Since there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Okay? So I'm repeating that again. If there is a 10% decrease in price, then a 40% increase in quantity demanded will happen if the price elasticity of demand is given to be 4. Got it? Okay. All right. Moving to my next question. The elasticity of demand is used to what? Determine whether consumers will buy a product, find the market equilibrium, measure how responsive consumers are to a change in price, determine which direction the demand curve shifts with a change in income, determine the size of a shortage or surplus. Right? So I'll give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. So the answer is measure how responsive consumers are to a change in price. So it's C. Right? That's what elasticity of demand tells us. Okay? If the next question number 4, if the demand for a good is elastic, what does it mean? The percentage change in quantity demanded is less than the percentage change in price. People do not change the quantity demanded if the price changes. People substantially decrease the quantity demanded if the price rises by a small amount. People substantially increase the quantity demanded if the price rises by a small amount. People substantially increase the quantity demanded if their income increases by a small amount. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 seconds. So what do you think the answer is? So it's C. People substantially decrease the quantity demanded if the price rises by a small amount. So elastic basically means that the quantity demanded is more responsive given a change in the price. So if price changes by 10%, quantity demanded changes by more than 10%, and in the opposite direction, right? So here it's given the price rises by a small amount, and so the decrease in quantity would be much more, substantially decrease the quantity demanded. Okay? All right, going to the 5th one. Which of the following influence the price elasticity of demand? Now that's how I denote price elasticity of demand as ED. All right, the availability of complements, whether or not the good is normal, resource allocation method, availability of substitutes, proportion of income spent on good. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again 5 seconds. Okay, so the answer is your D and your E. So both of these factors, they influence your price elasticity of demand. Your availability of substitutes as well as your proportion of income spent on goods. Okay, so if there are more substitutes available in the market, the demand for that product would be more elastic. Okay, and if you are spending a larger amount of your income, a higher proportion of your income on a good, then the demand for that good would be more elastic. Okay, all right, going next, question number 6. Suppose the demand for cherries sold from roadside stands in Mumbai is perfectly elastic. Okay, The owner of one roadside stand raises the price of cherries by 10%. As a result, what will happen? So before going further, let me just remind you what's perfectly elastic demand is. So this is your perfectly elastic demand, right? If you remember, you can always go back to my video and have a look. Okay, that's your ED is equal to your infinity. So that's perfectly elastic. So the owner of one roadside stand raises the price of cherries by 10%. As a result, what will happen? 0 cherries are sold at this stand. No change in the quantity demanded at this stand. A 10% decrease in the quantity demanded at this stand. A 10% increase in the quantity demanded at this stand. All available cherries are sold. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 5 seconds. Over. So the answer is 0 cherries are sold at this stand. Now, as I explained earlier, so there are n number of buyers in the market. So there are n number of roadside stands selling cherries in the market, right? So even if one raises a price by 10%, nobody would be going here to him and everyone would go to others, right? To all the other sellers, okay? Okay, question number 7. Suppose that the demand for ambulance service is perfectly inelastic. This would mean that a 50% increase in price would lead to what? Now, this is just the opposite of what we did. Perfectly inelastic means that it's vertical, right? So the demand curve is vertical, quantity demanded. So this is vertical. So whatever be the price, the quantity demanded will not change, right? So I hope you know the answer now for this. A 50% decrease in the quantity demanded, a 50% increase in the quantity demanded, no change in quantity demanded, ambulance services no longer demanded, a 50% increase in demand. So the answer is no change in quantity demanded, since the demand for ambulance service is perfectly inelastic, right? I hope you understand this. So perfectly inelastic means it's vertical. Perfectly elastic basically means it's horizontal. It's parallel to x-axis when it's perfectly elastic, right? Perfectly elastic. When it's perfectly inelastic, it is parallel to your y-axis, so it's vertical. Okay, all right. Okay, question number 8. After movie streaming services became popular, movie theaters found that their revenue declined. In an attempt to boost revenues, the local movie theater raised the price of a movie, and their revenues fell even more. What can explain this result? The demand for movie tickets is elastic because of many substitutes. The demand for movie tickets became inelastic after the price increase. Movie theater tickets are inferior goods. The demand for movie theater tickets is inelastic because there is only one way to see a new movie, or none of the above. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 5 seconds over. So the answer is first one. The demand for movie tickets is elastic because of many substitutes. Now, since the demand was elastic, so when the price was increased, right, in an attempt to boost revenues, the local movie theater raised the price of a movie. Now, since there are so many other substitutes available to watch a movie other than going to a movie theater, so when they increased the price, the demand for movie theater tickets fell. Now when the demand fell, the revenue fell, right? Why? Because of availability of many substitutes. Now this is in accordance with your question number 5, that how does availability of substitutes influence your price elasticity of demand. This is the way it affects. Okay, all right, going to question number 9. A gas station lowers the price of gasoline. The price elasticity of demand for gasoline is 0.2. What happens to the gas station's total revenue? I hope you can find this out. I'll give you 5 seconds again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so it increases, it decreases, it stays the same. More information is needed, or none of the above. Okay, so your answer is it decreases. Since the price elasticity of demand is less than 1, so that basically means that the demand is inelastic, right? The demand is inelastic. So even if you are lowering the price is lowered, right? The demand will increase, no doubt in that. The demand will increase, but since the demand is inelastic, so the increase in demand would be less than the decrease in your price. Okay, and how do we know that the demand is inelastic? Because it's given 0.2, which is less than 1, right? So whatever be the decrease in price, if it's a 10% decrease in price, then demand increases, but by less than 10%, right? Demand increases, but by less than 10%. Okay? Okay. So the total revenue will decrease. Okay? All right. Now, question number 10 is quite interesting. So it basically explains you. So we calculate actually total revenue, and we see that how elasticity affects your total revenue. Okay. You are the owner of Health and Wealth Supplies of Jaipur Inc. All right. Blueberries Cupcakes is one of the products that you sell to restaurants and bars. Currently, you are charging rupees 10 per cupcake and selling 1000 per month. You think, let's change the price and rake in some more revenue. A Jaipur National University student has estimated that the price elasticity of demand for your cupcakes is 2.0 over the relevant price change. So you understand that? So the first question is, the demand for Blueberries Cupcake is elastic, inelastic, or unit elastic? Now I hope you understand that when the elasticity of demand is greater than 1, right, then it's elastic. So since it's given out to be 2, so it's elastic. So the demand is elastic. Correct? What would be the percentage change in quantity demanded for cupcakes for a 10% decrease in the price of cupcakes? Okay. So now again we'll use the same formula. So ED equals to percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. Now since your elasticity of demand is given out to be 2, I substitute that value. I take percentage change in quantity demanded as X, and I substitute the value of percentage change in price, which is given to be 10. So it says for a 10% decrease in price of cupcake. So the price of cupcake decreases by 10%. Now this, simply cross multiplying, I get 20%. So there would be an increase of 20% in quantity demanded. Okay, when there is a decrease of 10% in the price, given your elasticity of demand as 2. Correct? Okay. Now C part says, what will be the impact on total revenue of the price change? Okay. So in order to calculate total revenue on the of the price change, let's just calculate the new price and the new quantity, and then compare the total revenue of the new quantity and new price with the old quantity and old price, right? So we'll see a clear impact on total revenue. All right, so original price was 10, correct? There is a 10% decrease of price, right? So new price would be what? 10% of 10, right? That's nothing but 1. So 10 minus 1, so the new price is 9, right? So from where do I get that the original price was 10? If you'll go back to the question, it says currently you are charging 10 rupees per cupcake and selling 1000 per month, correct? So the original quantity is also 1000, and by calculation we see that there is a 20% increase in quantity, so that's 20%. So the new quantity comes out to be 1000 plus your 20% of your 1000, that's nothing but 200. So 1000 plus 200 gives you 1200, right? So your new quantity is 1200, that's your new quantity, and your new price is 9, correct? Now total revenue is given by nothing but P into Q, that's nothing but your price into your quantity, okay? Price at which you are selling your quantity. Q is basically total quantity sold, all right? So at rupees 10 you were selling 1000, so your total revenue was 10,000, correct? At rupees 9 now you are selling 1200, and so your total revenue is 10,800. So that's a new revenue. So can you see that there is a jump in your total revenue, right? Therefore total revenue increases with a decrease in price when price elasticity of demand is elastic or greater than 1. Now you understand? All right, so that's for these questions on price elasticity of demand. I hope you like it and it was fruitful. Thank you. See you next time.